Welcome to APCUG's Winter Technology Conference, the type of conference that you can show up for the last minute and have a front row seat. This is going to be a very unique one. I'm hosting, and my co-host is David Williams, and our facilitator is Judy Tallur, chairman of the APCUG Board of Advisors, with a number of the other APCUG officers and members of many of our computer clubs around the country. This is exciting. So Judy said we'd like you to put your sign in with your name that you use to sign up with Everbright. And that way we can match up your names if we need to send anything out. Judy's going to be talking about roundtable discussions about any problems. How can APCUG help? We're looking for new ideas for our groups who want to share your club's successes, program ideas with other APCUG clubs. Being a different one, you know, we can see each other, but we're on different things. If you want to be able to see who's doing the talking, you go and click the button that says Speakers View. You click the gallery, you see Trk2 board. If you are wanting to talk, you might have to raise your hand so we can see who wants to talk, and we can't, because no way can 60 people all talk at a time.
What's going on? I had to kick him out, I think.
So, now, remember, if you want to be able to make talking noises, down at the bottom corner, everybody, please listen. At the bottom left-hand corner, you have a button that you can mute yourself.
This is something that we don't play with.
Yeah. When you don't want us to hear what's going on, hit that mute button, and then you can turn it on off as you want to talk with us. All right. So I am going to now turn this over to Judy.
Well, I was just going to say that if everybody will go down to the very bottom where it says mute right by it, it says if they want to start the video, they can start the video. If not, they're ready to go. Because everybody's been made. We got 60 panelists.
May I make one suggestion, please? I'm picking up somebody's background where they have their personal family stuff going on.
I will. That's my job.
Okay, so if you can mute them, that's great.
We can't tell who that is, but if you've got background noise going on, like darling little kids that I would love to still have darling little kids, but I don't, would you please mute until you want to talk? We would appreciate it. We've had a difficult time hearing John. Thank you. This is our first roundtable. We obviously need to, perfect our skills in doing this and bite the bullet and put another URL together for people to click on. I thought we might have a captive audience, so didn't choose to do it that way. My bad. We're here to listen to what you guys are doing with your groups, successes, things that you need help with. I always learn from other groups all the time, get ideas, the whole 9 yards. As well as I'm going to show a little short PowerPoint on what APCUG can do for your groups. And then let's build on that, on what you would like, if you would like us to add any more benefits. I'm here to tell you we can't do anything about insurance. That's one of my, many questions that I get, but we don't have the capability of doing that. And back in the day, we had to deal with Hartford, but I understand that Hartford is very expensive now too. So I'm going to share my screen for a quick moment. We had 2 discounts last year. We had a 50% discount for CaptureWhiz Pro. We had a File Locator Pro. User group relations, if you've forgotten, they offer you a half-price discount on 2 of their products. And Sticky Password gives members a 40% discount on their Pro Password. We have another one that Jay Melnick, our new Region 9 advisor, is putting together for 2019. Gabe Goldberg is always on the lookout for discounts. If you have somebody that you deal with that would be interested in reaching out to all of the user groups and offering a discount, please let me know. I'd appreciate it. And then I'll pass it on to the folks that actually put them together. We have push articles for your newsletter. We get absolutely fantastic articles from APCUG members, from many of the computer clubs. And I've also arranged for reprint permission by all of the rest of those people there. You just need to include the attribution like I include with the articles that I send out to the editors. And this last year, your editors received at least 148 articles that they could use in their newsletter. This February, I decided to send the articles via MailChimp so I could see who was actually opening them. And I didn't get any bounces from the 113 editors listed. Now, they're not really 113 editors. Some groups have 2 people that receive it, but it's about, I'd say, a little over 100. And I'm really dismayed, to be honest with you, that only 71 opened the email and 31 thought it was important enough to click through to the zip file that had 25 articles for their newsletter. I've looked at newsletters. Some newsletters are all push articles. Some are lucky enough to have a combination of push articles and original articles. And some newsletters don't use them at all. They just use click-throughs to articles that are on the web. And this is used to be one of our most popular benefits, I would always say. It takes me hours to put all of this together. And like I said, I'm kind of dismayed that only 71 opened the message. You guys, a lot of you attended the VTC today. We upload those to the YouTube channel for our groups to use as meeting presentations. We had a group the other day that said, oh my gosh, the presenter can't come, what do I do? Well, the natural thing is, hey, how about having a couple of the YouTube videos that you like in the back so you could just, oh, we're gonna watch this video. Then somebody doesn't have to scramble around and stand up there and hem and haw and try to put something together on the fly. The PDFs of the presentations and the handouts are uploaded to our website. And since 2012, we've had approximately 175 different presentations. And last year, 24 each year, we had 2,300 views of the videos that were uploaded from last year's presentations. Here are the dates for our next VTCs. We have the Speakers Bureau. I call it the ever popular Speakers Bureau. We have 14 different presenters from vendors, tech book publisher, bloggers, officers, members of groups, you name it, we have quite a mix of presenters. In 2018, we had 63 presentations, plus Bob G's over 20 that he gave in October for the National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And as far as I know, we're going to be doing that again. So if you'd like to have a 2019 October security presentation by Bob, he does try to get out to groups in areas where he can do a tour. That's Florida, Arizona, and SoCal. So the rest of you guys, his webinars are from the comfort of his home in New Mexico. And again, we'll be doing a push so you can get publicity for a National Cybersecurity Awareness Month in maybe your newsletter by having a security presentation. Get in touch with me and we'll start a spreadsheet with your groups. To date, as we speak, we have 18 presentations by some of those 14 presenters already scheduled. We're ahead of last year. Here are the topics that we offer. Many of the presenters give cloud computing or free software or Chromebooks. So it's just not limited to one person on a certain topic. We have several people on one topic. But I think we've got most everything for everybody. I added home automation as I was putting this together because that's Bill James. And I'm going to revise the website so to take him out of general and put him in home automation. All you need to do is go to the website, fill out this handy dandy form. It comes to me. I in turn acknowledge that I've received it. If you don't hear back from me, then it didn't get through to me. You might want to double check. And then I forward it to the presenter, and you work with the presenter. I step out of the way unless for some reason the presenter can't do it. And then I usually am the one who gets in touch to tell you that. This is our website. This year, Jerry had 215 tech tips and 201 Apple tech tips from January through the end of December. Mid-year, we came up with Penguin platform all about Linux and Chromebooks, 86 different posts versus 72 different posts. I see many groups link to them on their website or have information in their newsletter about the tips that are up there. And if you guys have something that you'd like other groups to know that you're doing, I'd love to have you send it to me, because we have a place on the website for member group news. And then I change the sponsor news every once in a while, and there will be information up there. Next time will be Gene Barlow's little tech newsletter that he sends out on a monthly basis. But if you have something exciting you're doing, you've just been to some kind of activity in your area, let me know, and I can share it with the other groups, and it's called an idea for something other groups can do. If you want to know about directors' advisors, you want to read all about the history, frequently asked questions, that's under About. And then member benefits has a link through to all of the benefits that we currently offer our member groups. And we have virtual conferences there from 2012 Q1 with a different logo than we have now through, and it will be end of day, it will be updated today's. If you want to look at what was going on back in the day, scroll through and see. We have the ever popular or unpopular UGLS, that is APCUG's membership database. And we would really love it if somebody in your group would update their information every once in a while. The president or the APCUG rep are usually responsible, but they can turn that responsibility over to anybody. When you have new officers, which I know most groups are probably laughing now because we all keep doing the same thing, but you do get new officers every once in a while. We'd love to have you update your UGLS record so the right person is getting the message. You know, we're so far down on the line of, you know, oh my gosh, we just had a board election. I need to get in touch with APCUG and update our record. Not. So if you don't keep it up to date, then you guys don't know what we're doing. And also, sometimes we ask you to forward messages to your members. And we had our last in-person conference in 2016 in Las Vegas. And I stood at the podium and I asked many of the attendees, or all of the attendees that attended that, are you aware about the digital photo contest, newsletter, website, etc.? And they looked at me and said, huh? How about the virtual technology conferences? Double, huh? We can't legally, through our bylaws and articles of incorporation, get in touch with your members. We rely on you to forward the information to your members so they can participate in the benefits. I always say having a virtual technology conference for your members is their benefit for belonging to your group. So if you're not forwarding the stuff of what's going on, just the important stuff, would you please think about it and help us out here? We have ideas for revitalizing your tech club, publicity program, volunteers. If you're interested in getting a copy, get in touch with me, and I'll be more than happy to send it out to you. And that is all. Thank you. Has everybody signed in to the chat box with your name and your user group? I heard that clapping, Jerry. Thank you.
Judy, can I ask you a couple of questions on what you said?
Absolutely.
Okay, number one with the push articles. I'm a little bit, let's say, I am very cognizant of copyright infringements and that. If our club goes ahead and puts the article in, do we have any problems, or that we have to acknowledge something or anything like that? When you give us those articles, they are clean, no problems?
No problem. That's the joy of the push articles. If you go out and visit other member groups' websites, they usually have a disclaimer on there that says, hey, any user group or nonprofit is more than welcome to use these. Everything I send out is legit.
Okay.
As is all of the Ask Leo, Ask Bob Rankin, Abby Stokes. They have given me permission to give you guys permission to use their stuff.
Okay, in order to simplify things out, should our club have a designated person as, let's say, the editor of the newsletter, and
You
therefore
do.
you
Your
would send
editor gets these every time I send them out. It's Kai.
to Cal?
Yeah, Cal. I believe it's Cal.
Oh, I'll have to speak to him. I didn't know about that.
Yep.
Okay, I didn't know about that. Now,
You want me
next
to add you to the list?
you know what? Maybe so. Maybe
Will
so.
do.
And then I can forward it to whoever is interested in,
Okay.
let's say, working on the newsletter. That's fine. The other thing, too, is I find that there's a fair delay, a lengthy, let's say, a delay in the quarterly presentations that we do, you know, like for the 4 times a year, to get them up to YouTube. Is there any way that it can be sped up so that we can see them sooner?
Are we all volunteers doing this?
Yeah, but let me just ask you this. This is the one thing I ask. I am very familiar, as you know, with the program that we're using here, as Zoom. And I know that immediately after I finish a presentation, it starts working on the recording and creating the recording. How quick would it be just to take that presentation, you know, that segment or the presentation, and just putting it up into the YouTube? Or does it take a long time?
It has to be fixed.
Okay, I understand. Okay. So you have to modify it, whatever.
We have 3 people who are recording it. Francis takes care of that. He spiffies everything up on his end. We were slow last time because he was completely rewiring his house.
Oh, okay.
You know, so then it comes to me. I have to add my stuff. I have a life. I've spent hours working on the virtual technology conference in the first place. My goal is to get them out in a couple, 3 weeks. But again, we're all volunteers working with blah, blah, blah.
Okay, no problem. I was just wanting to know the timeline. And so, okay, so you're saying about 3 weeks. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, just
Thank you.
for testing purposes, I don't know if you can hear me, Lloyd. I
Yes.
put them up in somewhat a little rougher form than
Nope.
Judy's very clean one up in my own channel.
Nope.
What's wrong with that? That's the only way I can see how it
No,
looks.
it's okay for you, but the official ones are on the APCUG's YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll
It's got
talk
all the
to.
bells and whistles on them.
Yeah, I'll talk with the lawyer offline on that one. Once I get out the noise, I remove the noise. The official slides at the start and the back I don't have. Then Judy provides them. So that takes another couple of weeks normally. I generally have it out at about the 2 to 3 week level without the official slides at the start and the front. So
Well,
it's on my own site. I'll send it to you.
Okay. Well, thank you
I
very
gotta
much.
have it that way for testing, or else I don't know how the levels turn out and everything. You're welcome to them.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very
That's
much.
all.
Okay.
Jerry, would you like to talk about your mini presentations that you're offering in the Speakers Bureau? You're muted.
How about if I unmute myself and then I can talk about it? I started about 3-4 months ago with my own user group, the Lake Sumter Computer Society, and then some other user groups close by, and I'm giving what I call mini presentations. I have a list of 12 presentations, 11 or 12 presentations that I have prepared, and most of them are 15 minutes long. So what I offer is, for an hour meeting, 3 different presentations on 3 different subjects. And the results of that is user groups are getting more people to come in because it's not just one subject. Oh, I'm not interested in that. Secondly, it helps people to understand how they can get started on something that is not completely covered. You know, this is what you need to do. And this is what you saw in my presentation today. I'm going to tell you about this subject matter. You need to go into it and go through it and figure out all of the different pieces. And it's easier on me. I like it.
So there's an option for the Speakers Bureau. You can have, from Jerry, 1 60-minute presentation. And if you'd like the mini presentations, he sends you a list and you choose what you think your group would be interested in having him give a presentation on. So that's something new that we're offering.
Yeah, Judy, what I saw just recently with 2 different groups that have emailed me is they have passed my 11 subjects around to the rest of the officers in their group and let them say, hey, I like number 1, 3, and 5, and this one over here, he likes number 3, 7, and 10, or whatever, and then put it together and say, this is what most people want. And that's cool. That gets people involved in your membership board of what's being given.
That's an outstanding thing, because you know, if you were to read the list, they probably would all sit on their hands because nobody answers this when we stand in front of the group and ask any questions. Excellent, excellent idea to get members involved in the presentation process. We're up for grabs for talking. Unmute yourself and share.
Hi, Alan Goldberg. I want to say hi to you. I've missed coming down to see you guys. Let's get together and figure out a schedule. Okay, Alan?
Okay, Jerry.
Yeah.
I do have something I'd like to talk about. And we're the Platina Computer Club in Boynton Beach, Florida. We currently have 351 members registered for this year. But a lot of these folks are getting up into their 80s and have mobility issues getting to our live meetings on Thursday night. And David Williams is actually going to be our presenter this coming Thursday. And I'm in Washington, D.C. I arrived this afternoon because my daughter is not feeling well. But I have my iPad with me, so I'm able to attend. But my concern is this something that we can do where someone can be our presenter and we can show him on our big screen in our performance center, and other homebound members can at least watch? Yes, Judy.
2 people will answer that question.
Okay.
Yes, all you need to do is buy 1 piece of Zoom. It's up to 100 attendees. Several groups already do this. If you want a reference of a group to talk to, I can put you in touch with Paul Howard from PADACES, or PADAX, however they pronounce it, Potomac Group in Virginia. They've been doing it for quite a while, and that's how Bob G gives his presentations, is he has a track that Avast owns. In your case, your club would have it, and you do what we did, what I did today. David and John put the URLs together, you would do that. You would create an invitation. I've presented to your group, and I've sent you an invitation. You clicked on the URL, and I have, and boom. What you do is you send that URL out to all of your homebound people. They click on it, and they're doing exactly what we're doing today for the VTC. Over to Bob.
The license I have allows up. So one of them will be at the club with at least 89 other connections that can be passed along to those that are at home. And one of them can any number of people watching. So
Bob, you're breaking up.
the 100
You're breaking up. Your connection is
on there.
Yeah. Hey, Bob, are you on Wi-Fi?
Getting me at all?
You're very slow and missing words.
Yeah, it's your connections. Yeah, I'd like to, add too, if a group, since Free John's talking here, can't afford the yearly membership, which when you break it down by 12 months and you want to make use of it for board meetings too, you can do the trick where you just use the free account that you can go for approximately 40 minutes, you take a break, and then you do a second 40 minutes. So you can do it without buying it. But the cost factor for a whole year, if you make use of it, is not bad at all.
And you can also pay as you go.
What is the annual cost?
Say again?
What is the annual cost?
I don't know, because we got in at the very beginning. Check out zoom.us.
Okay.
And they have a nice pricing schedule there.
Okay.
And like I say, several groups were already doing this.
Judy Ron Brown posted that he has a comment. So, Bron, go ahead.
Speak up.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. I talked to Judy about this before, but I recently, I'm in Arizona, and we have an organization called EVAC, which is the East Valley Association of Computer Clubs, and we meet once a month. And last month I did a presentation on how to effectively make programs for your club. And this was a popular one, and we had 30 people come to the talk. And one of the things I had them all do is I gave them a piece of paper, and I said, I want you to write down one topic that would be a good presentation for your club. Now you've got to remember, these 30 people there are all they're all people, they're officers of clubs. There should be techie people. They're people that have some good ideas. Well, I took these 30 sheets of paper and we looked at them, and there were no good ideas. Trust me, they were all lousy, really, really bad ideas for presentations to clubs. Now, so if we have people running clubs and they don't even know what would make a good presentation, it's very difficult. Now, one of the things I said to Judy is that one of the places I get great ideas is, Chris and Jim Gould from Geeks on Tour. They have a whole series of videos, and they have really great ideas and programs that run for about 45 minutes, which is exactly what clubs needed. And I talked to Chris and Jim about this, and they're excited about it as well. Why can't APCUG develop a relationship with them and get a discount on their annual membership, so we could use those presentations for within APCUG? I think that would be a really good idea, and I know they do too.
We're going to chat when they're back from New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
The other place that you can find, in my news that I sent out to my regions, I included places where I personally get presentations for my groups, and I use the tutorials on Tech Boomers. We can use anything on Tech Boomers that we want to. We were in on the ground floor with them in 2015. when Steve Black, a person who put it all together, gave his first presentation. I don't think he'd ever given one before. And this year, one of his cohorts in crime did the presentation, and in 1 week, I knew of 3 groups that showed the video, and one of them had the gal do it live. So Tech Boomers has tutorials. I didn't know about Pinterest or Groupon. My members wanted to know about Uber, and I went to their tutorials and easily put everything together with screenshots. I do the same thing with How To Geek. How To Geek has current up-to-date stuff all the time, and they have screenshots with everything, as does MakeUseOf.com. People don't have to think about, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? There are sources out there to go to give these presentations, easily to put together. Copy, paste into PowerPoint, you're off and running, or print out the screenshots for yourself and do a hands-on demo. It doesn't have to be rocket science. All this stuff is out there to make it quick and dirty. And my members love that kind of stuff.
Okay, this is David Williams, and I just want to interject one comment to Alan before I get it. I sent you the URL for the presentation.
Yes.
Please, you can share that with every member, and I think I can either have 50 or 100 do that. So if they can't show up at the meeting, they can click on that URL, just like you're going to do it in Washington, and they can view it.
Good. Huey Poplick has a comment. Huey?
Yeah, I've been, I moved from the Central Florida Computer Society area, which is Orlando, to the west coast of Florida about 4 years ago. And I continue to do a monthly Windows Special Interest Group via Zoom. I record it every month, put it on my website. But how I put it together is during the course of the month, using Evernote, I see any article dealing with Windows, and I save it. At the end of each month, or just prior to the meetings, what I do is I go through my list for the last month, make a list of all of the articles that I think would be good to share, and I just put up the articles, and then we talk about it, record it. Sometimes I demonstrate some of the things. Sometimes the articles have pictures and so on with it. I've opened this up, and I'm getting members of APCUG from around the country. Not a lot of them, but 10, 15 per meeting, and open it till we fill the 100 seats, which we're not getting anywhere near that. And then the rest of the audience is made up of the CFCS members in their meeting hall, which is just prior to their main meeting. So I'm able to share it with their members, or in other words, with our members, as well as members from all over the country. It's just something I'm doing. And all of the recordings are available every month. They're on YouTube, but they're also on my own website. I embed them.
If you're interested in subscribing to Huey, send me an email, jtalor@apcug.org. I will accumulate all of the people, your name, your group, your email address that you want to receive the information from him, and I'll forward everything to Huey in one fell swoop instead of having him get a gazillion emails. And then don't forget, check out Huey. What URL is that on? Huey.net?
Huey.net/WinSig, WINSIG.
Okay. Check it out and see if it's something like the Goulds, Geeks on Tour, that you can use for meetings. Again, keep these things in your pocket in case the speaker doesn't show.
Judy, we got a really interesting person like to make a comment, and I'm excited to find out whether it's today or tomorrow. But Michael Cassidy, yeah, last week. Michael Cassidy, unmic yourself and talk to us.
From Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi there, everybody. Yeah, it's tomorrow. I've just had my breakfast, and I'm about to go and milk the goats when we finish here. I detected a note of despondency, Judy, when you were talking about your emails not being open. I'd just like to say that Bert Blink, our group secretary here, sends all of your emails out to everybody in our group, and I certainly appreciate them. We ran a program through the end of last year, beginning of this year, with one of our local seniors groups, where they got a grant to help digital literacy for their members. And we ran a series of absolute beginners computing courses and then some introduction to Windows 10 courses for them. And part of that was their grant covered each of those members getting membership of our PC users group. So it was a benefit to us as well as to them. I'm interested in a number of the, particularly Jerry's mini presentations, to see if we can use those later on. And hopefully that will give people more of a reason to be in our group and stay with the group, because keeping people in the group is probably our biggest problem at the moment.
And you have where you're located, but which group are you?
We're the PC users group. We're in Canberra, which is the capital of Australia, equivalent to your Washington. We cover the area around, and some of our members, of course, have moved interstate over the years. So we actually have members spread all over Australia now. But we you know, try and give them whatever services we can. Probably the biggest thing is our online help system, where people can log in either by email or on the website to submit queries that they have, and problems they might have. And a number of our members will do house calls, particularly for the older members, to help them out, sorting out their problems with their computers.
Cool. Now, I have a question and request for you. Is Bert in your group, Bert Blink?
Yeah, Bert is our group secretary at the moment.
Okay, we've been corresponding back and forth, and I can't find anything on your website to write up to feature you guys in reports. So your job between now and the 1st of April is to write up what you just said, so I can include that in my international report on computer clubs. It's all about sharing information, and I'd love to have you just write a short couple of paragraphs and off we go. Thank you so much. You all heard it. Right.
I'll put that on my to-do list.
Way down at the bottom, I know. Outstanding idea. The Los Angeles Computer Society has a tech who is an officer, and they get members because he will fix people's computer clubs for computers for the price of a membership, and they get a lot of members that way. They might only be a member for a year, but some of them have been members after he fixed their computers for years. Just another way you're out at the senior centers teaching them and members. He's fixing computers and they're getting members. Jerry.
Jerry, a quick question, and then we'll get to Bob. All of my many presentations are made in PowerPoint or PDF. And if anybody wants them, they don't need me. Just let me know. I will send you the presentations. Then if you want to use them, fine. That's what I'm about. And if you want to use them and you need some help with what they mean, I'm willing to do that too. You just got to contact me.
All of the presentations, like his presentation today, will be up on the website by end of day, won't it, Jerry? Thank you.
Okay, Bob, you're next.
I'm still hoping to get a remote scheduled with Melbourne or anywhere else in Australia. We tried the last time, but something didn't work out right. So that's still an open invitation for a presentation remotely with Australia. Michael, if you're interested, let me know. Or let Judy know.
Let me know, please. He doesn't mind staying up in the middle of the night or setting the alarm in order to give a presentation to your group. I tried to get him involved with that conference that you have of the seniors group throughout Australia, and they wouldn't give me the time of day because he was, you know, going to come down and try to get to as many of you guys as possible. So love to have you do a interactive webinar where you actually get to see him and ask questions live and stuff like that. So get in touch.
Okay.
Right now I'm on Wi-Fi dependent on hotel service. That's why I broke up the last time. That's when they changed the password.
You're
in the
perfect
middle
now.
of the day. Yep.
Edward, you got a question?
Mary Frances has a battery program she wants to talk about.
And we'll get to Edward after that. Mary Frances.
She's from John's group.
Oh, don't tell him that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mary Frances, talk to us.
Hello?
What?
Mary Frances, can you hear me? She doesn't have the mic or the microphone set to be the default.
Ask her to send you an email.
Yep. We'll try her again.
Over to Jerry Steele.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Absolutely.
Our membership, like all of yours, is aging, and we had 2 fairly active members that moved into the local assisted living center, and they were both wanting programs, and so at Christmas time we gathered up presents and took them to them, and they got to talking to the directors at the assisted living center. So what we're going to try is having a meeting in the afternoon on the Thursday that we're going to have our regular meeting. And some of the people that don't work, like I still work, I can't do it, but other people have volunteered. And so we're going to have a second meeting in the afternoon for them to run and meet with the people that are in the assisted living center. So we'll let you know how it works, but we think that'll help, you know, bring some other interest offering a program there.
Are you still doing your every other month, 1 month in-person meeting, next month online meeting?
We haven't scheduled that yet. We did do every other month being the board meeting and then the regular meeting, but we may go ahead and start it if I've got all these ideas. We just had our first board meeting, and we'll have our first meeting this next Thursday. So we also are moving dates from Tuesday nights to a Thursday. There's another club in town, a photography club, that has a lot of members, and they like to have some information about computer stuff, but they've always met at the same time as our club. So we are trying to move the time, as well as adding in the second meeting at the assisted living center.
Outstanding. Well, I gave 2 of the presentations. John was kind of to be the moderator because I have a free account, and he just used APCUG's account and hung out with me because he's your advisor. And I believe, John, you gave a presentation too.
Yes,
and
I did.
know you've got at least 1 new member who can't attend meetings in person,
Right.
but could attend the every other month online meeting. So that's a unique idea also.
Right. And I'm also wanting I'll get on the list for Jerry's other presentations. The ones in the evening are wanting shorter presentations than 1 hour. They want maybe 30 minutes, and because they don't want to stay late. And so we need to go to shorter presentations. And when I do the videos from something that's online, I find a nice breaking point and play half of it and then play the other half the next month.
Get back.
Edward, did you want to say something?
Yes, I mentioned to our board meeting about remote presentations or looking at the YouTube videos on the APCUG channel, and nobody was even interested at all. In fact, I can't even hardly get anybody to attend these virtual technology conferences, so I'm not sure how to change that.
What is their reason? Not about the videos, I can see that. But what's their reason for not having an interactive webinar where the person is up there on the screen and they can talk back and forth, and then there's live Q&A? That's what draws people in, is it's actually live. It's not a recording. I'm sitting here in California and I'm giving your group a presentation wherever you are. You see me like you do now, and I share my screen, and then afterwards we open up for a live Q&A, and somebody goes around with the mic or restates the question. Tell them a lot of that.
I've been pushing for people to watch. I mean, I did a presentation today, talk 15 minutes about giving people how to sign up for the virtual technology conference and all that. And nobody was interested.
No, but I'm talking about the interactive webinars.
Yeah, webinars. I mentioned it, but nobody seemed to be interested in it. So, you know.
Even though it's, who do you have give your presentations?
Well, today our speaker couldn't be contacted, so I had a presentation I've been working on for 6 months now that I had sitting on the sidelines, and I gave that today to fill in for canceled regular talk. So that worked out pretty well for a group. You know, maybe other groups should probably do that. Have something, you know, sitting on standby to do in case there's nothing else that can be done that day.
What most groups do and how they get their members hooked on the videos is, in your instance today, say, oh, you know, sorry the presenter couldn't come, and they show a video and the members go, oh, really? You know, not too shabby. But what group are you with?
Huntsville PC User Group. Huntsville, Alabama.
Okay. Well,
what is your group's interest? I mean, what does your members want to be informed about?
Well, in the past we tried surveys to the members, and hardly anybody responds. We can't get a consensus of what anybody wants to see.
Well, as I tell my groups, if they don't tell me what they want, they get what I'm interested in learning.
Like today, I gave a talk on smartphone tech. That seemed to be pretty well received by the members.
Gee, would you like to give that at a VTC sometime?
Well, I'll think about it.
You're hooked now. He's hooked now.
Anyway, not that I'm pushy, but they're really missing out on having a different presenter via the interactive webinars, because everybody says it's just like they're in the room with you. And we have a whole laundry list. It's like, Jerry, give your people a list of interactive webinars and say, what are you interested in? And then get in touch with one of us.
Okay. Yeah, our biggest problem now is a lot of our older members have been dying off. We've been around since 1981, and now we're down to 21 paid members. So I'm not sure how much longer our group can hang on. So.
Well, you're not unique. There's many groups like that.
Bob G, did your hand go up again?
Yeah, I did. What I wanted to get across that is an interactive webinar is totally different from watching a video or even the tech conference, because you actually interact with the presenter. It is live. I'm live in my home. Your group is live wherever you may be, but we have questions in between. We have questions at the end. It is almost the same as being there in person.
But Bob, you would have to say it wasn't good enough at our meeting because you couldn't have any of the cake.
That's correct.
Yeah, Edward, I would schedule Bob G to give a presentation and just schedule it and tell him exactly what it is. I can send you a blurb on, you know, what to tell him, because he's not that we're not real people, but he's the step up from the rest of us because he belongs to a company. And his security presentations are absolutely fantastic. It's got humor, you learn a lot, it's got more humor, and he's sitting in New Mexico in Albuquerque and loving giving the presentation, and he's not paid to do this. He's a volunteer, so to speak, just like the rest of us are, except he represents Avast, but it's not all about Avast, it's about security. And I give security presentations. I've taught the class, doggone it, every time he gives a presentation, I learn something new. See, in my group, I wouldn't give him a choice. We just have one. But I'm a mom.
instead of making Huey go and talk or turn on his mic, he said that, Edward, you might just try getting Jerry to come in and do 15-minute, one of his short presentations to get them used to a live presentation.
In fact, our board today authorized me to contact Jerry about doing the presentation. I was wondering, Jerry, where are you located at? I don't know how far a drive would be to come to Huntsville.
Oh, we're working on this, Edward. Jerry and I have already talked about it. Do you really want him to come?
Yes.
He'll be there.
Clothing I couldn't get. I showed the board that lists the topics there, and nobody can decide on a topic. They said I can decide, or he can decide, whatever.
Is Rod Riggs in your group?
He used to live in Huntsville, but when he retired, he moved close to his family in over by Atlanta. But he, in fact, even after he moved to Atlanta, he was doing a newsletter for a while. But his health is pretty poor now, so he can't.
Okay, for a short time, he was one of my advisors, and if he was one of your members, I would tell him to get his act together and start using the benefits. Do you guys have a good internet access?
Well, we meet at the senior center in Huntsville, and how good? It seemed to be okay most of the time. So
Jerry's going to come and talk to you about using Hotspot for a presentation. You can tell Jerry and I've already talked about this.
Okay.
All righty. Questions, comments? Come on, you guys.
Can I say something? Ask a question?
Absolutely, Dr. Sexton.
Okay. I'm not sure I understood exactly what you said. Let me see if I can paraphrase what I heard. That you do a webinar to my club, I can have a Zoom and they can click on it and I can retransmit what you're sending me?
Okay.
No? Okay.
You just had Huey Poplop give you a cut the cord presentation, correct?
Right.
Huey has a paid account. He can have up to 100 attendees. If you had people at home that couldn't come to the meeting, you could send them the URL, just like I sent out the invite for today. They click on it at home. You click on it for your meeting, your people who do come to the meeting, and everybody's happy.
Okay, so we could buy a couple of months and try it out and see if we could talk them into it, huh?
You don't have to buy anything. It comes on Huey's end. It comes on my end. It comes on anybody who has a paid account. Gotcha. It comes from us, not you. You don't have to put out a dime, although I know you've got money in your treasury. You can.
If I wanted to give you a presentation, I could do it using Zoom and do just what Judy said, and it wouldn't cost you or your membership or anybody else a dime.
Okay,
I'm the cheap one. I only have a free account, but I can use APCUG's account instead of, may I say, that 3.5-hour drive it took me to get to your group last year.
Okay, all right.
It's an hour away.
May I make a comment?
Absolutely.
Going back to where they were talking about surveys, typically surveys are a dismal failure in all accounts. And it seems to be that it is due to the fact that the members themselves really don't know what they want. In our group in Sarasota, typically it's 75 years plus. They are either beginners or intermediate, and therefore really they're very much like when you go to school, you sit in a class and you really don't know what you want to know. They're going to teach you. So they rely heavily on the people from the various groups to provide the presentations. And also from this meeting today online, I'm going to highly recommend to our board that we reduce the time of the presentations. You're right, an hour is very long. Thank you. That's all I got.
Richard Jackson, after you, has a comment.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, couple of things. Before I get to my main comment, I'm going to say something about surveys. We pass out an evaluation form. How was the presentation, which we then enter into a spreadsheet. And on there, there's a place where they can actually put what they ideas they have for future presentations. And so that's a way that we get ideas from our members. They're filling out the evaluation, 1, 2, 3, or 4 or 5 stars in a few different areas, and then there's a place for this additional comment, and that works. Also, we are trying to expand our membership. We are down to just a couple under 50 right now, and we're doing a couple of things, and I'm looking for ideas, and also maybe you can tell us if you've used these ideas and how they work. There's a local community college that's having a volunteering resource fair, and we have participated in that once before, and we're doing it now coming up this week. Also, we have just started a meetup site. It's tied into meetup.com. Have any of you tried that, and has it worked? I'll listen for comments now.
Over to Bill James on Meetup.
Richard, we've used it with mixed results, but the main point about Meetup, it does get your name out into the community. People do see it, and we have had some traffic as a result of that. But don't expect to have just your doors knocked down with visitors. One thing is that most computer clubs don't really follow the same format as a true meetup. I think the participants, the members of meetups expect an informal group where they can come in and just chit chat and share ideas. So when they come, they're a little bit startled by what they're confronted with. So you have to recognize that and explain to them. But like I said, the positive point of being a member of Meetup is getting your name and locale into the community.
And it does cost. The Under the Computer Hood user group, world's best name, in San Diego has gotten a few members via Meetup. The Los Angeles Computer Society meets, about a couple of miles north of LAX, and they have had several visitors, and again, a couple of people join. So if you've got money in your treasury, you don't have to subscribe for a year. I don't know if you can do it month by month, or I think it's 6 months at a minimum.
6 months.
Give it a try and see if it works for you.
We tried it once before. It didn't really work. But then again, I think we didn't do it right. So we have a new president now, and he wants to give it a shot, and so we're doing it.
You might want to take a look. What group are you with, Richard?
Southeastern Michigan Computer Organization.
SEMCO. Okay.
Yes, SEMCO.
I will send you some, I consider good meetup pages. It's the same thing that Gabe Goldberg and I crap about all the time. Your websites, who do you put them together for? Gabe and I visit a lot of websites. I, at least twice a year, visit every single APCUG member website. And it dismays me that it's not set for visitors. There's nothing on there that goes, hey, I'm in town. I'd really like to attend a presentation here. You need to look at your website from the view of a visitor, not as a member. You have to do that with your Meetup account too, because you need to make it look exciting and make people want to attend. And with some of the websites we have there, I can understand why their membership is going south, because nobody in their right mind would want to attend a meeting because it just doesn't have any up-to-date or pertinent information on like the topics that you're giving. I'm seeing somebody likes Raspberry Pi and Linux. You know, you need to sell yourself. And so many of us are just tech people, and that might not be the way our brains go. So I'm going to send you the URLs of a few of them that are really good. There are some really good meetup sites out there.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
I want to address surveys. If you have a survey for your group, please send it to me. This is all about sharing. I can put them up on the website as a Word doc under the Roundtable part of APCUG2.org winter VTC. The same thing with the person who had the survey after the presentation. If you will share it with me, I'll put it up there again. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. I have the survey that the PC group in Connecticut put together because I'm on their email list. I love to be on groups' email list and find out what's going on in your groups. And this is how I found out they had a survey. And it's quite comprehensive. But again, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. If we share all this kind of stuff, then it cuts down the time and energy that we put together. And you might take something from this survey and something from that survey. You might think this one's too long or whatever, but the ideas are there for you if you share it. And if you send it to me, I love to share.
If we can, Mary Frances may have tried to get another microphone. So Mary Frances, if you want to try to turn your mic on, we'll give you another chance.
And if she doesn't, John,
she wanted to talk about a program that was done before I got there on batteries. A couple comments we had. One group said they did have a lot of good luck with meetups for their Raspberry Pi and Linux, but it was pointed out that if you are going to do a meetup, you need to have someone at the meeting whose sole purpose is to meet and greet these new people and, you know, help them to get to join. So don't just have a meetup, but somebody's got to be in charge of, you know, helping them get around the place and don't feel like an outsider.
Yeah, it's really important to make them feel welcome. I know, and a lot of people that are particularly not computer savvy, they maybe get intimidated by the presentation. So they need to understand that, you know, this is we give these type of presentations, but if you continue coming, you will begin to absorb some of that information.
The Under the Computer Hood user group has at least 2 presentations each meeting. Some people might come for the first one and they stay through the second one, or vice versa. And one's a little bit for the beginners, and then one for the techies. They've done that for years, and they found out that works better to get their members in. If they're not interested in the first short one, hey, they're interested in the second one. So you might think about doing that. My group meets for 3 hours, Happy Joy. We used to teach DOS classes back in the day and stuff like that. So my group gets at least 3 presentations at each meeting, and by golly, they're still sitting there in their appointed places when 9 o'clock comes around, and we start a little after 6 o'clock. And it's all the culture, but everybody has to have somebody that meets and greets. And again, if you ask for how to revitalize your group and stuff like that, a lot of what we've talked about are in those documents. You know, have somebody that meets and greets, have somebody that the restrooms are through there and over there. This is the president. You also might want to think about having a PowerPoint that you put together that just keeps going with pictures of all of the officers, so they can look around the room and say, there's so-and-so. A little bit about the presentation or presentations for the evening. A short list of what you've talked about in the past. If you're one of the lucky people who know what your presentations are coming up, Add that. Add a few tech cartoons. How to geek tech cartoons you can use till the cows come home. And if you have SIG groups, talk about and just have it rolling as people are getting settled. And it reminds your members what you offer, but it's also informative for your guests. They can see what you've done, what's coming up, what's going on, etc. Under the APCUG has been, first time I mentioned that, the president has been doing that ever since. He's been doing it for 3 years now. And I got that from, I believe, the Fredericksburg group in Maryland called Sharing.
Judy Lloyd's got the specs on the Zoom prices if you'd like to hear those.
Thank you.
Okay, I've unmuted myself, so I guess you can hear me. What I wanted to do is just talk a little bit about some of the things that, just reviewing what you're talking about in general about clubs. Some people, and I belong, let me just say this, I belong to 2 computer clubs. One is about, let's see, one is about 100 kilometers away, which is, say, about 65, 70 miles away, for those of you in the States. And one club, people really want to come to a meeting. Now, it's a smaller town, it's a city, but it's a small town. People can commute or get to the meetings quite easily and readily. The other one, which is the one that I'm involved with for many, many years, was the Personal Computer Club of Toronto, and Zoom saved us. And I want to just say a couple of things about Zoom before we get involved with it. Some of you may or may not be familiar, but Zoom is so flexible, it just beats anything that I've ever come across before. I started testing it with a friend of mine, and everything it could do for a very reasonable price, if you wanted to even pay the price, is actually mind-boggling in what you can do. Now, some of you are very reluctant. For example, you say you want a presenter. Do you know that we've had Bob, who's still here, I think. Bob's done presentations, and he's located somewhere deep down in the United States, and he's presenting to us from wherever he might be in our group, and we're flipping from left to the right all over the place. Believe it or not, although we don't have a large community or group, we wind up having a 4-hour session once a month, and usually it even goes longer. People just get so carried away. They can talk to each other because Zoom gives you all of this capability. It's not just a person talking and doing a presentation, but the beauty of Zoom, which we can do, and I don't think some people really are aware of all of the capabilities, is that we can share files. We can do almost anything between the whole group if we want to. If I say, geez, I came across this great app and here's the link, bing, it's there. You can download it right there on the fly if you want to. But let me just show you now. I'm going to share my screen, and I'll just go over a couple of things with you with the pricing of Zoom. It's not as, whoops, yeah. Okay, let me just do this. Okay. Oh. Can you see my screen right now?
Yes.
Okay, so here we are with the Zoom website, and if you take a look here, you got the free, and this is what some of the people were talking about, where you get 40 minutes on a group meeting, and all you have to do is cut off and just start a new meeting. So you can have for free 40. I myself personally carry this out for business reasons for $14.99 a month, $15 a month, and for that, you get just about everything you'd need. But one of the beauties of this is that if I come across they have other things that they come up with, but the point of the matter is if you go with just a pro with $14.99 a month, one member could have that, or the club could have that. And the beauty of that is just about everything you want. One of the things that we do is during the course of the month prior, I collect all kinds of videos that I've seen online. And there's a tremendous amount of presentations. And one of the comments that you folks made was the fact that an hour presentation might be a little bit too much. And you're right, it just might be. So what I'm saying to you all is that sometimes maybe 2 half-hour presentations might be a little bit more advantageous. But our biggest problem in our club in the Toronto group is that trying to get to a meeting is horrible. Our traffic in Toronto is gridlock at various times of the day, and the times that we'd want to have the meeting is the most difficult time for travel. So we also have an aging group. Some are passing away. But the other issue, and just like all of your clubs, people have moved away. People have moved halfway around the world. Judy knows, because she's participated in a couple of our meetings, or a few of our meetings, that we have people from around the world actually joining us, people that were old-time members, and they come in and they lock in. The only sometimes difference is that we have people where there's a 7-hour difference in time from the Mideast. And so when they chime in, it's the middle of the night for them, or early morning. So the timing is a little bit off. But going back to the other, everything you can do with Zoom that you can think of, you can do. Again, sending files to all of the people who are participating, recording the actual meeting is just amazing. You start off there, you can take polls. You were talking about polls. You can take polls on the fly with your particular meeting. You could ask all the participants to answer certain questions, and you can immediately, as soon as they answer, you can have polls. What I find is that the big thing is, and just as you've discovered, that the person that's the host should have a good internet connection, and that's all you really need. That and a good webcam, and you can handle it. Now, I hear that you people are saying that you have to go to a center, a community center. Well, how about if some of the people want to meet to get together, they go to the community center, and with one computer or with a couple of screens, they can watch the entire session right there at the community center if they want to get together. Okay, Judy, you got the floor.
The Committee on Aging down in San Diego, they had a goal at one time that what Lloyd just said. They wanted to put a computer club in every senior center down there. It didn't happen. But our recommendation was, my Southwest Technology Conference was down there for 20 years. And I used to be able to attend their meetings if I was in the area. And my suggestion was just exactly what Lloyd said, have somebody that will, be able to click on the URL for a Zoom presentation and have whoever at the senior center is have the opportunity to view it from either one of the 2 computer clubs that are down there. In Lloyd's case, the other group I think he's talking about is Durham, and sometimes the Durham people do chime in at his meeting. And he uses the other version of Zoom, the one that we should be using now, where it's actually a meeting, where it's like you're sitting around the conference table and you can see everybody. And he has all the time zones across Canada and the US plus Israel. So obviously that's where one of their members has moved. So that's a unique idea. Another unique idea is the Payson group. We've written that up in reports. I hope you've all read this Q1 issue. I find that's not so, because when I sent my news out to 177 officers, I only have 6 clicks through to reports. But the Payson group, that is Ray Baxter, they are a meet-up group. They have no dues. When they wanted to re-up with APCUG, they passed a collection. It's extremely informal. They have outside speakers come and speakers from within the group. They have no officers. Ray's the facilitator. So a lot of groups, they're doing different things to keep together is what I'm saying. Marshall found his video settings. Has he got it on yet? Oh, they want him to restart. Okay, any other questions? Remember, I like questions. And, okay, I'll bring this up. If you would like to give a presentation at a virtual technology conference, to be honest with you, I get turned down more than I get, oh, gee, that sounds neat, I'll do it, from people who give presentations to their groups all the time. they are, a quote, afraid of presenting with nobody there. And I always offer up my group to be the test subject. And for many of the VTC presenters, they've taken advantage of it because, you know, we're very casual. I'm from the beach, and I brought that up to me with this little insulated valley where I live now. And we go with a flow. And so oftentimes we have been the first group that somebody has presented to instead of being able to see the audience. We're easy to work with, and if they want suggestions, then that's fine. So if you would like to be a presenter, but you're squirrely about presenting to nobody because you can't see them, try me out. We'd love to have you on whatever it is you'd like to talk about. When I give my presentations to groups or the VTC session, I'm sitting here waving my hands around and gesturing just like I would if I were standing in front of your group. But it takes a run through to get comfortable with presenting to nobody in front of you. And bear in mind, your presentations go quite quickly because you don't have the eye contact you're doing and you don't have people interrupting with questions. I gave a 69-page presentation to a group in Arizona yesterday. I was online with them at 7:15 a.m. in the morning because they're an hour ahead of me. I'm in SoCal. And you would think a 69-page presentation would go on forever. And from start to finish with Q&A, it was an hour. So give us a try.
Yeah. Huey?
Yeah, a suggestion of some things, something that I've done is the free Zoom is great. And if you want to play with it, you set up a free account, make a presentation to no one. You don't have to have somebody at the other end. Record it, and then play it to your group and show them what it does and how it works. And that way you learn how to use it, and you get some benefit with your group, and then they'll also see how good it can be to have a presentation done.
Okay, Edward, you've just given your presentation to your group today. Why don't you try that? They have just seen you in person. You could do just a little bit of it via Zoom, and then you could give just like 15 minutes of it at your next meeting and say, this will open up our world with presentations. This is what it's like. See what they say.
So that's a good idea.
But don't forget you can give it to my group too.
Bob?
I always ask when I do one of the remote presentations that the laptop be facing, the camera part be facing toward the audience. That way it's not only that they see me, but it's interactive. I see the audience. I may not see everyone in the room, but I have an audience in front of me. So for me, it's also almost like being there because I get to see people's reactions. If I tell a joke or there's something I can see, gee, they're not understanding it. I can see it because the video part is coming back to me.
I could see the people in Bill James' group when I gave my gee, your ID theft is paramount after you die group presentation to Bill James' group. And when I gave my presentation in Arizona, I was presenting to my backyard. And I kind of missed being able to see the people.
All right, we're going to do 1, 2, 3 strikes, and she's out. Mary Frances, you said you want to try again. Turn your mic on, and then you can talk to us.
Please turn her mic on for her.
I'm looking for her. It's unmuted. Talk to us, Mary Frances.
John, please say you can hear me.
I can hear you, finally.
Thank you so much. Suggestions for programs or things of interest to members at our club, Licking County Computer Society, Ohio. Many years ago, I told them that I wanted to have a program about batteries, and they moaned and they said, "Whoa, who wants to hear about batteries?" Yet I pursued and had the man to come who owned the place that ran batteries or us. And it was one of the more useful things we have ever done. We are uninformed about batteries. They were mixing batteries, you know, with, what can I think, rechargeables and chargeables, batteries that were partially dead with fresh batteries. Just fact the wrong batteries in their units and so forth. When he left, everybody was cheerful, bright, informed, and they asked questions about who would show them how to insert batteries in certain, and he encouraged them to come to the shop and tell his people. And the whole thing was so good. In this world of batteries, they had no idea what they didn't know until we listened. That's all I wanted to offer.
Thank you very much.
Outstanding.
Talking about the surveys, I needed to share that one year at our holiday potluck, where we had a huge number of people, we did a survey as to what would you like to hear in topics. And I think I had a list of maybe 5 topics. Everybody checked all 5.
There you go. 5 months worth of presentations.
Yeah.
Well, it's like my members wanting to learn about Pinterest or Groupon. Neither am I interested in either one of them. Hey, if that's what they wanted to have, I went to Tech Boomers, and boom, they had very good presentations about subjects that they were interested in, but I wasn't. We all learned together. They were happy campers, and it was no big deal to put it together. Questions, comments?
Judy, I want to make a paid announcement, unpaid. I think all of you noticed the contest results on the slides at the beginning of the program. I'd like to encourage everyone to talk up our contest. We have the digital photo contest, we have the website contest, and the newsletter contest. Of course, the one that would be most interest to your members will be the digital photo contest. And talk it up among your members and encourage them to submit entries. We hope to have some information out regarding the contest quickly. I think we want to start getting our entries in September, but it's not too late to be talking to your members. They'll be out during the summer taking photos, so this is an opportunity for them to get a head start on that. So please encourage your folks to participate.
Thank you. And it's amazing to me the number of groups that have digital photo SIGs. We got no photos from any of the participants of the SIG. The Green Valley group in Arizona, their digital photo SIG leader, she always came to Southwest, and each one of her members always submitted 4 photos in each, one for each category. And then when APCUG had their next conference, they also entered all of those same photos there. So obviously, to me, the word isn't getting from, we get it from us to the officers, but it doesn't get any further than that. Because you'd think they'd want to show their absolutely fantastic photos to the world.
Judy, I feel like Roz on Fraser. Joe has a comment. You still there, Joe? Yep. Joe? You had your hand up and you got your mic on.
Jerry, the information will be out next month.
Well, I can't tell if Joe can hear me. but his hand was up, so I'm going to lower his hand, and if he raises it again, I know he's still there.
Ask him to put something in chat.
But if he can hear us, he just heard you say that.
Okay.
I do want to make a comment. The time, just not saying the time, but just the fact that this is such and such a time here at the East Coast, and we still have 48 people, supposedly still with us listening. Not all of them sharing, but this has been the biggest group, and I found out too that we can have that many panelists at one time. I didn't think we could.
Is Richard Durand among us?
He should have been. I marked him in.
Richard, if you're still here, I'd like you to speak about your group and using the Speakers Bureau webinars, if you happen to still be hanging out with us.
Who's that now?
This is Richard.
Speak up louder, please.
I don't have a mic. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Oh, he's got a fancy name. That's why I couldn't figure out who he was.
I put a comment in the chat about how we use the Speakers Bureau. And so thank you for calling on me.
We can hear you.
Yeah. Okay, good. Anyway, we needed some presentations some years ago, and we used the Speakers Bureau, and since then we've used it more and more. So most of our meetings use the Speakers Bureau, and we've had several of you give presentations there. I remember presentations from Jerry and Judy and Francis Chow and Bob Gostowski. So it's been very successful for us.
And I get reports when I give a presentation. They have 2 visitors and they both joined. That's what we're looking for. They were possibly interested in the topic, or they just stumbled into the meeting and thought, hey, this is cool. This is the kind of information I get. I think I'll join. So they've had at least 2 members join at one presentation that I did, and I believe at another presentation they had at least 1 member join. So that's what we're looking for.
Always remember.
Again, your members get tired of having the same people give presentations all the time by in-house people.
And quality programming is one of the keys to a successful membership.
Yeah.
Well, this has really improved since we have this Speakers Bureau.
And
quality, I mean.
We all use Zoom.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
I can hear you, Jerry.
Okay. Another thing that I've done that's helped out the Lake Sumter Computer Society and other groups around here is that we had some business cards printed up all about Lake Sumter Computer Society. And I took them down to the local libraries and said, when people come in and ask, where can I get this kind of help? Give them a card.
You also need to give them to your members when they're out and about. If they get to talking with somebody, they can whip one out. And you're supposed to give 2. So I always give 2. And, you tell them about it and they kind of look at you, well, yeah, I'll check into your website, but they won't. Vistaprint always has, 1,000 cards for, almost nothing. And it's just a good thing for your members to have to give out to folks they chat with. I talk to strangers in tech stores, and here you go.
I spend a lot of time at the local Leesburg Library doing free classes, and every free class that I give 2 short presentations, one on APCUG and the other one on the Lake Sumter Computer Society.
Yeah, I do a plug for our computer club when we do our classes too. Joe's back on and wants to give another try.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I only have a comment. Jerry Minnick's presentation about Windows 10 and the security was most excellent. And when I see our organization I'm going to press them to give that video when it comes on YouTube.
You know, if that's the only part of the video you want, you're going to download it to your computer. And please don't try to watch these videos online, because if your bandwidth might not be good enough. Download them, super simple to do, and figure out where that presentation starts and just cut off the beginning of the other one. You know,
okay.
Whip right along and say, this is what we're going to watch today. And when it ends, you're out of there.
Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome.
And thank you, Jerry.
Okay. Other discussion topics? Have we convinced anybody to start using the Speakers Bureau? Not that it's a pet of mine, but back in the day, I used to keep a list of people who would give presentations but never did with it. And Sam Wexler was having, out of Region 1 when he was in Florida, was having conference calls. And people joined in just like this. We couldn't see each other, obviously. We didn't care. And I found a kindred spirit with Hank Feinberg. And he said, hey, he said, I've got some, presentations that I'd be more than happy to give. Sign me up. And with that, I got in touch with Don Singleton and put the Speakers Bureau together. I have my initial email that I sent to him and then sent out to the groups announcing it. So it's been around quite a long time. Not really a long time, for several years. And it just gets better all the time. And we do keep up to date with current technology.
Dottie, turn your mic on and talk to us.
Hi, can you hear me?
Can hear you.
Yes, I'm from Victoria. I'm the president of the Victoria Computer Club, and we use the Speakers Bureau. We've had Ron Brown present to us when he lived in Comox. He came down with his wife and some people he winters with in Mesa. And then we've also done a live one with Bob. That was, I didn't know I was doing it that day. But I'm not sure the format of everyone's computer clubs. We do a number of things. We have Monday Basics every Monday, so we have 2 hours every Monday morning where I've got a rotation of 5 to 6 teachers, and they teach whichever topics they want to teach. On Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday, we have what we call drop-in times, where people can bring their laptop, computer, smartphone, Androids, and Apple equipment for help and one-on-one. We also have a 3-fold brochure that we drop off at all the libraries in Victoria. And we also send the PDF to the main library, so that the library does their own teaching on computers, but they only do a one-on-one one time. So what they do is they give the person either the brochure or email them the PDF. We also have speakers come in once a month and at the 4th Tuesday of the month and speak on different topics. This month we're having the Better Business Bureau come in. But we have used the Speakers Bureau for when we can't find a speaker. We also have, on every Thursday of the month, we have the genealogy group, the Apple group, the Android group, and the camera group. So we're pretty busy. We have 170 members. What we do is we offer 1 month free, and we register them like they're joining, and then they decide they come into the classes. We're in a Silver Threads senior center, so they have to pay their drop-in fee if they're coming to classes. If they come to the drop-ins on Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, they don't have to pay anything. So, yeah.
And if you go to their website, you will find the presentations that their members have given. And if you read the article I wrote about them in reports, you'll find the links to 2 of the recent presentations. Take a look at them.
Yeah, and a couple of other groups we have are the Linux groups and Raspberry Pi, but they meet off-site for another reason. Oh, what was the other thing I was going to say? That's it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Is there anybody else there that wants to tell us what they do at their meetings? We're all unique. Any other discussion points? Bob, John, Sherry, David?
I was going to say, people,
Huey?
I got a comment that some people really liked this format and that we might try to do it on a regular basis.
Okay, since I'm the one that puts the VTCs together, how often would you want to do this? We have 4 a year. We certainly wouldn't want to do it every quarter. But to be honest with you, I couldn't get anybody to fill this slot. I ask all the time, and you know, Bill gives a gazillion presentations, Jerry does, Francis does. David's working on a new one as we speak, David Williams. And like I said, I get turned down more than I get positive responses. And I thought, hey, let's have a round table and see how it works. Literally, I thought we'd get 5 or 6 people and that would be it. So this is absolutely fantastic because, like I said, don't, you know, reinvent the wheel. If somebody is already doing something that works and they share it, the light bulb goes on and say, hey, I can use that with my group too.
Richard Jackson, comment about what you do at your meetings.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not sure that this would be especially inspiring, but what we do at our meetings is we come in, we have about 15 minutes of general announcements done by our president, and then we have our presentation could be done by someone in our group, usually our SIG chairman, which is our SIG computing chairman, and he, but usually outside speakers, so sometimes someone from the Speakers Bureau, and then that runs for about an hour, and then we used to have a refreshment period that lasted about half an hour. We don't anymore because we can't have it at the place we're meeting at now. And then we went in, and then we have a SIG Linux, a special interest group on Linux, and we have a presentation there, which is generally done by the SIG chairman. On rare occasions, we'll have an outside speaker for that. And that's basically how we do our meetings. And we meet on the second Sunday of the month at 1:30 in the afternoon.
Wow. Thank you. The Los Angeles Computer Society, like I said, they are just north of LAX, and it's a difficult, the 405 stinks, so they have their hospitality first. They have an informal forum where the chairs at the front of the room are set in a circle, and they sit around, you know, talking about tech problems, and the guy who fixes PCs in order to get members, he's the one that runs that. And they have their hospitality first as people are coming in after work or getting through the traffic. And they start their meeting after that instead of having, you know, snack in the middle. Back in the day, they used to all go to the restaurant and absolutely fantastic diners and have a little get together, a pig sig afterwards. They don't do that anymore because the president that pushed that is no longer with us. But everybody runs theirs a little bit different. I have food at my group. I got a little Hamilton Beach pod coffee maker at Walmart, so I advertise that we have gourmet coffee. And we have gourmet coffee, so to speak, and goodies. And I have a little container there, and if people are so inclined, they can give donations. and the Channel Islands group in Camarillo, California. In their treasurer's report, they will put how much, the refreshments cost and what they, recoup, so to speak, at the meeting. And I think the North Orange County Computer Club does that also. But having refreshments and a time to get together is, social hour, getting to know the people instead of just coming in and sitting there and getting up and leaving. The TUGNet group in Granada Hills, they have their presentation, then they have a break, and then they have the presentation Q&A after the break. So everybody has something different going on.
Our group meets in the morning on Thursdays, and we start out, our meeting starts at 10, this is Central Standard Time. We start out with a social hour, but the members bring the goodies. We provide the coffee, and then we start our program at 10, short business meeting, and then the other, we meet for 2 hours. The other 45 minutes or so is for presentation. We take a break in the middle where they can stretch and have more refreshments, and then we close out at 12. But we have a dedicated building, so our SIGs meets in other times during the week, and that works out really well for us.
LACS, Los Angeles Computer Society, also have people who volunteer to bring refreshments. 1 or 2 people at each group. They have the most interesting refreshments. That somebody will bring chips and dip. Somebody will bring, it's not all sweet stuff. And they publicize that in the newsletter. And I'm hoping if you have a newsletter, you are thanking the people who bring the refreshments. If the club's not paying for it and it's coming out of their pocket, they're volunteers and they need recognition. Marshall, could you talk about what you do at your Sarasota meetings? Because you have unique things going on at your meetings too. Can you unmute Marshall just for grins? If not Marshall, Huey, could you talk about what the Sarasota group does since you're a member there also?
Let me unmute myself, and I can. Are you referring to the main meetings, or are you talking about the things for the volunteers?
The main meeting.
The main meeting, they have what they call forums, and they have one on Windows, one on Facebook, another one on iOS, and people get, and there's a couple other ones too, and they meet, and it's mostly beginners. It's geared for beginners, and what they basically do is answer questions. It's not a prepared presentation. Just people come in for the first time. They just got their iPad, and they got like the word that you used, Judy, gazillion questions, and the group as well as the moderator generally answers them, or at least tries to, or lead them to where an answer would be. Then right after that is a presentation, and that's it. It's a 2-hour meeting. It used to be 3, but because where they're meeting in a school and they have to pay for the time, they cut it back. And also in the main meeting room during the forums, they have a just general a computer set up, and people ask questions, and 1 or 2 of the members answers the questions by demonstrating and showing as best they can. Also at every meeting, the president thanks all of the people who volunteered. In fact, this last meeting, she put a list up of all of the people who were involved in either checking them in, putting the equipment out, and so on. Had a list of all of the people to thank, and I thought that was very, very nicely done.
Marshall, are you with us?
Yep. Also, okay. what we do at the general meeting is we have a help desk, and anybody can come in with any question. They frequently will bring in the hardware issues and bring in the hardware with it. we're able to solve a lot of problems. Once again, that's where I've come to the determination of the level of education, computer education that these people have. He would pretty well summed it up. Otherwise,
Marshall, I'd like you to talk about your Circle of Learning meeting that you have every December.
actually, that's very clever. That was started about, I want to say, 5 years ago. We set out, last year we set out 16 tables. Each one had a different subject. We were very strong in inviting people that were not members. And we spent 20 minutes, basically, they spent groups of up to 12 or 16 people per table, up to 20 minutes in a light presentation of what that person did, a specialty, and it works out very well. We rotate the people through. Like I said, every 20 minutes, they also have part of that where we furnish heavy snacks and refreshments on that one meeting. So it's been a very popular event every year.
I have included that in reports a couple of times, and other groups have picked up on it. Whether you have 2, 3, 4 different tables with information, it's what it is this Jerry's mini presentations.
Yes.
People circulate around the room, and other people have open house if they have a meeting room where they can have open house, and they picked up on having the same type of presentation. Instead of somebody standing up there giving a presentation, everybody who comes to the open house chooses a table, and then they move them around. So if you can have an open house, that might be an idea for you to pursue, depending upon how many tables you've got, people that will volunteer to sit there and talk to folks. Mary Frances wants to know, Marshall, some of the topics, your table topics might be.
Oh, didn't know there was going to be a quiz. Well, you know, virtually every aspect of computing, we talk about online experiences, we talk about chat groups, we talk about Facebook, we talk about, we have 2 tables that are dedicated to Apple products. And again, once again, they're in mini presentation form, but it's also heavy on question and answers that we can provide to the people. So those burning questions they've always been wanting to ask and are stimulated after they've seen a brief presentation.
Yeah, last year I did one at that conference where I talked about Notepad and WordPad.
Yes.
Oh, so Mary Frances, my thing would be, whatever you can get, people that are willing to give a little talk about is what your tables are going to cover. John can talk about Linux, free software, stuff like that.
I mentioned earlier about not being terribly successful with surveys, but we were successful, moderately successful, when we took mini surveys at the general meeting. Oftentimes we asked, what would you like to hear? What would you like to see? What would you like to do? Those types of questions in order to, you know, stimulate those educators that we have. We have a terrific team of experienced people, as do most groups. And of course, we've had the pleasure of having several of the people that are here come down and either speak to us or make a presentation via remote or like a PowerPoint type thing. So very good stuff.
Huey, would you talk about your Ask It basket for those people who are afraid to raise their hand and ask a question because they would perceive maybe somebody thinks they're dumb?
Yeah, I stole the name from one of the APCUG conferences many years ago. In Central Florida Computer Society, what we used to do is we'd just put a bowl out and pieces of paper, and people could write down the questions at the beginning of the meeting, put them in the bowl, and then in the course of before the main speaker, sometimes it was one person, sometimes there'll be 2 or 3 people as a table, go through the questions and try to answer them. And what better place to get answers to people's questions than in a computer club meeting? If there's 2 questions, you're going to get about 17 answers and different ways of doing, 17 different ways of doing things.
And I've adopted that, and somebody's stolen it from me. I always give you credit, though. This other person doesn't give anybody credit. So don't forget.
Thank you.
When you borrow something, or you have done research on it, as one of the our local clubs here, whose president is a former attorney. He says, "You're not stealing, Judy, you're doing research." I prefer to think that's what I do. And then I use my research to share with all of you guys as much as I can. Any other discussion points? And we have had various sundry people say they think that we should do this after every VTC. Next time we do, we'll do it correctly. We could have it as, if John can sit that long.
Sat this long this time.
That's true. As in track 2, as the 4th presentation, so to speak. And I would be sending out a different URL. So I would send out 3 URLs with my information email. And the 3rd one would be coming in, and we'll have the other type of meeting where we actually are looking around the room, so to speak, and it'll make it less hectic work for John and David. Like we know what we're doing, okay? This is like your first baby.
Yep.
It's all guesswork.
Richard Jackson, you had a comment in the Q&A, but there's nothing in the Q&A. And when you come on to make your comment, somebody also wants to know what your user group is.
Semco.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, I am Vice President of the Southeastern Michigan Computer Organization, also known as SEMCO. In terms of the evaluation surveys, our evaluation, we actually pass out a piece of paper, and we get a very high amount of response that way. And also, in terms of question and answer, we have a question and answer session. I forgot to mention it earlier. And we say, no question is too dumb to ask. The only dumb question is the question not asked. And we get a lot of participation. And when it's asked out loud in front of the group, the person up, the SIG chairman up front, probably about half the time has a good answer. But then there are people in the audience that also have answers. And so sometimes we get more answers from the audience and better answers. Mm-hmm. So that's it works out good all around.
And I'm thinking, duh, for 22 years, that's what I told the students in my computer classes, because everybody almost in the class is clueless, and they're afraid to let everybody else know how clueless they are. And I would tell them there are no dumb questions. They are called clarifying questions. And I'm here to remind you that Bob G. will be giving his security presentation the month of October, National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. If you would like to have him give a presentation, please get in touch with me and I will start a spreadsheet. I know he'll be giving one to my group.
Yeah, he'll be giving one to my group, and we'll eat cake in front of him again.
But didn't somebody send the recipe to his wife?
I think she did, but that's not like being there to eat with us.
No, I know, but he could say, nanny, 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 I have my own.
We left out the secret ingredient.
Oh.
It isn't the same as having Mary Frances bake it. Sorry.
Yep.
I'm still hoping we'll get something worked out in the summertime to cover the Midwest.
Yeah, we're going to try for Ohio and maybe tuck in those 3 Pennsylvania groups he went to the last time he did a tour. So I'll pull up all that information and we'll do our thing.
Will he be passing through Oklahoma?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh, aren't we going to cover you in October?
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And don't forget.
Even though the nice thing with seniors is once a month there'll be fresh presentations because they will have forgotten what they saw the month before.
I have done that. I have done webinars, and I'll look back at my list and I'll say, you know, I gave that to you a couple of years ago, and he said, you know, no, please give it to us again. We need more reinforcement. And every time I do give a interactive webinar, I update the presentation. So it's I did that with my curriculum. I taught the same classes 3 times a year, and I got bored with myself, so I updated every class curriculum to make it fresh for me and with the latest and greatest stuff. So I think all of the Speakers Bureau people do that. I know David Williams is working on the social media one for Platina down in Florida, and he said, gosh, he did a lot of revisions on that. He hadn't given it for a while, and hey, as you know, with technology, in the blink of an eye, something changes, and we do try to keep up to date. So, any other things? And it seems to be, again, like everybody wants to do this, so we'll try this again in May. I believe it's May 4 is the date. And I did include in the invitation, if anybody had any topics, they should get in touch with me. And of course, how many people did? 0. So we've just been flying by the seat of our pants here, and for me, that works just fine. So hopefully that works for you. What time is it in Australia on your day? Unmute.
It was a 5 a.m. start for us down here. That's in Eastern Australia. If there's anybody in Western Australia, they're 3 hours behind us.
Okay. And we have had, you know, people attend. Did you attend any of the presentations today, or just this one?
No, I went to Jerry's mini presentations, and then I switched over to Trk2 for the Windows and what Microsoft's up to.
Okay, very good. That guy's really knowledgeable. And again, that's a group that they switch between 2 people. And I keep saying over time, they're going to get tired of doing this. They need to reach out. Our pool of in-person presentations in Southern California is probably close to 0. You would think we would be high in technology. It was in Orange County, not LA County. And in Orange County, the tech companies have moved out of California or merged. So most of the groups have a lot of the groups have strange presentations that aren't necessarily related to, you know, hardcore technology. The rest of us are hanging in there with that kind of presentation. But it's all different. Any other discussion you guys want to talk about? You want to share anything? Raise your hand and John will call on you. It's as easy as that. No? Are you ready for John to end the meeting then?
We might say, East Coast people, are you ready to go to dinner?
And don't forget, it's National Pizza Day.
Sounds good.
Clark Walker left.
Someone left earlier because they said they were going to it.
Yeah, Clark said he was sorry he had to leave, but it's, you know, National Pizza Day. I think he said it's free, but I know a lot of the local pizza companies are having discounts. So go celebrate National Pizza Day and live it up.
Yeah, and since not everybody's probably reading the chat, Judy did make a comment that just like with the other presentations today, this roundtable will go up on our video tube. So if anybody wants to watch something that long, they can.
Or, you know, fast forward works really well. I'll watch it and pick up as much as I possibly can. And don't forget, we have the information for revitalizing your user group, program information, publicity information documents. If you want any of those, shoot me an email and they'll come into your inbox. John. thank you so much. David, thank you. Jerry, Francis, Bob, Bill, everybody who spoke, I really appreciate that. I'm just so sorry that I didn't get to see, I know what Huey looks like, but I don't know what Marshall, Richard, Point Man, or Mary Frances do. I know what Gary looks like, because did I tell you I had to drive 3.5 hours to get to his location to give a meeting that should have taken a little over an hour, but that's okay. That's going to be a running joke between Gary and me from now on.
Yeah.
So next time we'll do it the other way, and we'll be able to see those folks who actually want us to see what they look like.
Oh, they could have done it this time. They could have done it this time. They just didn't want to turn their cameras on.
Well, darn.
Yep.
Yeah, that's too bad, because I interact with the majority of you guys, and I love to see what you look like. So, John, thank you so much again. Please feel free to end the meeting.
Don't forget, May 4th, the next VTC. We'll see you all then.
Be thinking about discussion points.
Yep. Have a great night.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
1 second. I don't have to click anything.
No, you're done.
Shocking.
You're done.
I was looking, okay, what am I going to do?
Oh, I can see Rose.
Well, remember, there were a couple of different tabs you had to go through because we had so many people.
We only had 2. We had 3 we had 6 some at the top of the list.
That's great. All right. Have a great week in Iowa. Stop sending that cold weather this way.
Yeah, I know.
The people in Arizona said yesterday they're tired of the rain. Well, they got more coming from SoCal. What can I tell you?
It's not warm over here either.
No, I listen. I'm wearing long underwear at home. I have no insulation in my house. We're not used to this.
I'm in Arizona. Thanks. It was warmer in Florida last month.
Well, of course, it's always warm in Florida.
All right. See you later, everybody.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.